So in this class we are going to discuss about first chapter of class 12, that is solid state. In the previous class we have discussed about types of solids present in nature, and those types are crystalline amorphous solids, and we have also discussed about the different properties of crystalline amorphous solids. Now in this class we are going to discuss about the classification of crystalline solids into sub parts. Those are undergoes types of crystalline solids. Types of crystalline solids. So crystalline solids basically are classified into four types depending upon the nature of interaction between the atoms which are making them. So therefore those are molecular solids, second one ionic solids, molecular solids, ionic solids, third one metallic solids, and then comes the fourth one covalent solids, which are also called as network solids. So now we'll first discuss about molecular solids. So how are these molecular solids formed? Before going through the molecular solid types of molecular solids, we need to first discuss about a property called polarity or polar nature of an atom or molecule. Polarity of a molecule is defined as if a molecule has particular dipole moment in it, then those molecules are called polar molecule. That means, for example, HCl. If you consider HCl, this molecule has a particular polar moment, dipole moment, that is because of different electronegative nature of hydrogen and chlorine. Hydrogen is electropositive, whereas chlorine is electronegative. Hence the reason hydrochloric acid or HCl molecule is a polar molecule. Similarly, if you consider example of H2 or a Cl2 molecule, H2 is made up of 2 hydrogen atoms and Cl is made up of 2 chlorine atoms. Cl2 is made up of 2 chloride atoms. So here both hydrogens are equally electropositive in nature. In this case, both chlorines are equally electronegative in nature. This resulting in zero dipole moment in them. If you divide these two, both the dipole moment or both the electronegative nature of chloride atoms or electropositive nature of hydrogen atoms get nullified or neutralized, resulting them as non-polar. So depending on this, we classify molecular solids further into three types: polar molecular solids, non-polar molecular solids, and one more is hydrogen bonded molecular solids. Hydrogen bonded molecular solids. So a polar molecular solid is one which has a particular dipole moment in it. A polar molecular solid is one which has a particular dipole moment in it. A non-polar molecule are those type of molecular solids which have no dipole moment, and a hydrogen bonded molecular solid is one which has an electronegative atom such as oxygen, fluorine, nitrogen, etc. Oxygen, fluorine, nitrogen, etc. along with at least one hydrogen atom. That is because the lone pair of electrons present in these electronegative elements attract hydrogen of the neighboring molecule. If we consider water molecule of two types, so this electronegative lone pair of electrons of oxygen interact with the hydrogen of neighboring water molecule. This type of interaction of lone pair of electrons of electronegative atom with the hydrogen of neighboring molecule is called hydrogen bonding. So if a molecular solid has this kind of attraction between them, then that is called as hydrogen bonded molecular solid. Okay, so now we have three types of molecular solids: polar molecular solids, non-polar molecular solids, and hydrogen bonded molecular solids. Now for the properties of these molecular solids, they are formed by weak van der Waals force of attraction. They are formed by weak van der Waals force of attraction. Hence they are soft in nature and have very low melting point and boiling point. So they have very low melting point and boiling point. Since some of them might try to have a dipole moment, they have very bad conductivity towards, they are bad conductors of heat and electricity. They are bad conductors of heat and electricity. That is because their electrons have been restricted to one direction or not at all restricted anywhere. It will be lying themselves. So therefore, a molecular solid is formed by a weak van der Waals force of attraction. They are soft in nature. They have a very low boiling point and melting point, and they are very bad conductors of heat and electricity. Next, we are going to discuss about ionic solids. Ionic solids. So ionic solids are those solids which are formed by ionic bonds between them. So ionic bond is formed by, now they are formed by ionic bonds, right? So these ionic bonds arises because of electrostatic force of attraction. Electrostatic force of attraction, which we also call them as Coulombic force. An electrostatic force of attraction or a Coulombic force of attraction comes into place only when there is a certain amount of dipole moment present between the atoms forming the molecule. If a molecule has an exact amount of dipole moment present in them, that results in electrostatic force of attraction or a Coulombic force of attraction. This force of attraction makes a molecule formed by two atoms by complete sharing of electrons. Now in case of example, if we consider sodium chloride, in this case sodium completely loses one electron to chlorine to form Na+, whereas chlorine completely gains that electron to form an ion called chloride. So in ionic solids there are two ions present. Those are cations and anions. So these cations and anions are held by force, a strong force called electrostatic force or Coulombic force. Because of its strong electrostatic force of attraction, they are very hard and brittle. They have a very high melting point and boiling point. And since there is a electron transfer between sodium and chlorine, even though there is an electron transfer between sodium and chlorine, that electron will be held by both the nucleuses. Both the nuclei will be holding that electron towards themselves. Hence, even though there is an electron present which is moving from one nucleus to another nucleus, these ionic solids are bad conductors in solid form. They are bad conductors in their solid state. They are bad conductors of heat and electricity in their solid state, but once they are ionized, that means once they are dissolved in water, they are very good conductors of electricity. That means an ionic solid is good conductor of electricity in their aqueous phase or in their aqueous state. An ionic solid is a good conductor of electricity only when they are dissolved in a solvent such as water. Okay, so this is about ionic solids. Next we are going to discuss about is metallic solids, the third type of crystalline solid, that is metallic solid. A metallic solid is formed which can be explained better with an example. Let us consider this is a metal sheet. Okay, so metallic solid is formed by pure metals, and in that metal we have a sea of positive charges aligned in particular arrangement. So these are the positive charges, which are arranged in them in a particular arrangement, and the negative charged electrons are free to move in this complete area. So the negative charged electrons will be present between the positive charged spheres, such as like this, and these electrons are very free to move in all directions, which makes them a very good conductor of heat or electricity, because electrons are a good conductors of electricity and they are available to move in all direction, so they can carry heat or electricity in all direction. Hence, when they are connected to an external source of very high voltage, they can start to conduct. Hence, metals are very good conductors of heat and electricity. So now, how are these metallic solids are formed? When a metal is considered for an example, it consists of sea of positive charges in it, and these positive charges are surrounded by free mobile electrons. So these free mobile electrons means they are very free to move in all direction. Those electrons have a very important role in conducting heat or electricity. These metals are found to be hard and they can be converted into any shape, like a thin sheet or a thin wire. That is known as malleability and ductility. So malleability means it is the process of converting a metal to a very thin sheet, and ductility is the process of converting a metal into very thin wire. And further, they have very high melting point. They have very high melting point present in them. Okay, and further, they are very good conductors of heat and electricity. They are very good conductors of heat and electricity. So this is about metallic solids. Next, we are going to discuss about covalent solids or network solids. Covalent solids or network solids. A covalent solid or a network solid is formed when a non-metal is bonding with another non-metal. When a non-metal is bonding with another non-metal, it results in covalent solids. That is, a molecule formed by mutual sharing of electrons. So, if this is a double bond between two carbon atoms, the electrons present over here are mutually shared by two non-metals of carbon, which results in having a very strong bond. And further, we know that carbon can form catenation. That means they can bond themselves with another carbon atoms, multiple carbon atoms. That results in a strong chain of carbon with carbon atoms, such as like this. So this carbon can further bond with 4 more carbons, and these carbons may further bond with 4 more carbons. Like this. So this results in bonding between carbon and carbon atoms, and this bonding increases with a very high number, which results in a network-like structure. Hence, these covalent solids are also called network solids. Covalent solids are also called network solids. For the examples for these covalent solids or network solids, we can consider diamond or graphite. Diamond, graphite, or sometimes we can consider an insulated silica also. Even though these covalent solids have no electrons present in them, some of them are good conductors of heat and electricity, especially graphite, whereas diamond is a very bad conductor of heat and electricity. And covalent solids are very hard in nature, and they have a very high extreme melting points and boiling points. In case of graphite, what we observe is graphite forms a layer-like structure. If you consider this as one layer of carbon atoms of a graphite sheet, and there is one more layer present below it, so there is electrons present in those carbon atoms. That is because each of the carbon atom can bond with 4 atoms, right? Each of the carbon atom can bond with 4 atoms, 4 other carbon atoms. In case of graphite, a carbon atom gets bonded with 3 carbon atoms, leaving behind 1 electron free. So there will be 1 electron free in that carbon chain. If this is a carbon sheet, so this carbon atom will be bonded with 3 carbon atoms, one will be over here, and 1 electron will be present in between the 2 layers. So that 2 layers, the electron present between those 2 layers are free, and hence they can start to conduct electricity or heat. Therefore, graphite is a very good conductor of heat and electricity despite being a covalent molecule. Further, because of the very high number of networks between the carbon atoms through covalent bond, these molecules have a very high melting point or boiling point, and some cases some of these molecules can even undergo evaporation before starting to melt. So this is about our types of crystalline solids. So if you have any doubt regarding these types of crystalline solids which I have classified in this class, please comment down below. Please do like this channel, and if you want more videos on this channel, please subscribe, and thank you for watching.